1076. Well, 5 minutes down the hour of 3 p.m. This is your it's your afternoon mega show. This is where we sit down and review so much. And we also have a very special guest today. I mean, it's not really a guest, but we call them chill mates. Sibo, isn't that right?
Yeah.
We call them chill mates. Just because we just sit down and just deliberate and just have fun. Well, I'm Danny Constant right here with Maria Makoli, and we have a chillmate. She is Maimuna Jeng. Girl, please get closer to the mic and say how you feel this afternoon.
Hi, Maimuna. Welcome on the Chill Zone.
Thank you, Mariama. Thank you for having me.
Well. I feel you are. I wanted to ask whether we could take your picture and post on social media, create some sort of a buzz, tell people you're about to show up. But I don't think you're that kind of person. I mean, I even checked your Twitter DP this morning, and you changed it into a little beautiful girl.
Right.
Why don't you like taking pictures?
I do take pictures, actually.
but you don't really take pictures as often as other women.
I don't know how often other women take pictures.
Oh yeah, see what you want to. We could actually show you what Mariama's camera gallery look like. She has a bunch of pictures of hers though.
Don't mind.
Right, I do take pictures, but not most of the time alone. Usually when I'm out with my friends.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you are third year. I mean, you sent us a little about yourself, but so you're a third year political science student, and you are a blogger as well, and pretty much an activist for women. And you're very spiritual. Let me just put it that way. I wouldn't say you're religious, but you're spiritual. There's a difference.
Am I?
I had a chance to go through your blog and read a few of your posts or articles, like they actually call it, and I was quite impressed. I was actually impressed. I was like, okay, I remember when I read the last one that you posted about men, and I was like, okay, we need to have a sit down with this woman, because her brain doesn't really function like a lot of others. so it's good to have you on the show, and I want you to just relax. We'll pretty much we'll talk a little bit about every and anything, but just feel comfortable.
Well, all I gotta say is Maimuna is a hardworking young woman that I've been following on social media as well, and I've been seeing her work and her dedication towards her work, and of course towards what she loves to do as well. So I'm really honored and really happy that we have you here on this very show. And there are a lot of young girls like you who I'm sure they're looking up to you and your great work as well. So keep pushing. We're gonna get there.
So let's get started from the beginning. You're a Secutarian. I remember I just asked you.
Really, you're from Sukuta?
You're from Sukuta. And but what makes you different, Maimuna? What makes you as Maimuna different from other Maimunas in Sukuta or other Maimunas in Gambia?
That's hard to tell for myself.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that am I really different? I think I'm just a normal girl who's really passionate about something, and she's working towards it. So I think everyone really is different in that aspect, because there's probably another Maimuna who's passionate about something else and pursuing it. Just we might have different passions, but we're both doing the same thing, doing something we like. So I guess me being different is me doing something I like. So that makes me different.
But what inspires you? Like, what really keeps you going?
My background, and society, what I see every day. That is one of the biggest part that keeps me going.
Okay, now if you're going to, because you mentioned that you're into culture, basically, you're quite culturally oriented as well. So, what do you know about your background when it comes to culture as Jeng?
Don't say as Jeng like that. Jeng is huge. Jeng is huge, yo.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm from a very religious family. I
Right.
would say, not spiritual, religious family.
Okay.
and I have a background of. Well, I wouldn't. My grandfather was a very religious man, and he sort of created a bond between Banjul and Tiwawan.
Okay.
So everyone in my family is pretty religious. So yeah, I don't really know much about because we have this huge family from both my grandfather and my grandmother. So I can't really tell much. So I'm not really culturally oriented. I'm more it's Muslimic culture. I don't know how to say this, but I'm not really into just the culture. I'm really into how Islam and the culture both works together. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, living in Gambia could be a little exhausting sometimes.
It is.
No,
Living is exhausting.
So, how would you? What would you say could be a good thing living in Gambia? Like, if anyone asks you, so, yeah, what's an advantage of living in Gambia?
The harmony, maybe. The together.
We're harmonious in Gambia.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it only? I think it's only in Sukuta because I know in other parts they don't really get together like that.
For my
Like
part,
smoke and kololi na nangawaru. It's a ghetto.
but I think
I'm serious,
Gambians are
though.
generally open
Okay.
and willing to not accept people for who they are, but just accept people to a circle, sort of. Like the Tikandor thing and all of those things.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that is pretty awesome.
Well, what has been one of your fond memories growing up as a child in Gambia?
Ferai.
Ferai?
Wait, you're one of those
hustler.
kids that went around picking,
Yo, I'm
Really?
a hustler.
Really? No way. Okay.
So yeah, I not really my childhood, but pretty much after my 7th grade or so,
Yeah.
then I moved to Sukuta because that's where I used to live with my uncle at Bakota. Then I moved to Sukuta. So we weren't really going out much, but then we came to the neighborhood, and then everyone was just open coming to our house. So my grandmom used to tell us, I think una thing say yana ghetto, because everyone in the neighborhood would come to our house from 8 p.m. to from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and we'll just be there having fun. Jai Ferai. Especially during the holidays.
But wait, well, how much money did you make from selling Ferai
It was
as well?
it was much of a money at that time
Of
because
course.
kilo was $4 I think.
Wow.
Yeah,
That was
so
small.
yeah. Now I think kilo is 150 or 250 or something.
Whoa.
Okay.
So yeah,
Are you still in the business?
nah, I've retired.
She has retired. She has made enough money.
You've retired.
Yeah.
That's fun though.
That's nice.
Yeah, so we had a pretty fun childhood. The fact that everyone just used to come to our house and chill, have fun, do stuff. Yeah, that was fun.
That's nice. I mean, that's what makes Gambia beautiful. Because I remember we had a similar thing in our house as well. We used to have, the boys in the neighborhood, some of the girls come to our house. That's where they would have lunch, dinner, and then stay almost the whole day, especially during weekend. And our house is always so packed. Like, you come in our house and during the day, you think we have a festival going on or a party. There's always food. There are a lot of people. There's music.
There's always one house in the neighborhood where that accommodates
everybody.
like everyone. So
Yeah.
we just go there and that sort of thing.
Just chill, do whatever that you
Speaking
want
of
to
being
do.
a hustler, I mean, I used to hustle. Though. I remember in primary school, my mom used to sell, what's this called, ogi. You know ogi? The pap.
The pap.
Yes. So she sent us to sell it in the morning. Like we wake up
I've
early.
never heard
like,
anyone sell ogi, Danny, in Gambia.
Yes.
I know people sell rui.
Yeah. No, but it's but that's the name the Nigerian. That's what they call it.
It's rui you're calling ogi.
No, but that's what they call
It's
it.
not ogi.
Rui is different from ogi.
Rui is different from ogi. Rui is cooked.
Okay, it's
Ogi is
No. Okay, let me tell you what is. Let me tell you what is made.
okay. I'm talking about porridge.
Yes,
Yeah.
but that one you cook it. So it's in plastic. So it's done out of maize. Do you understand? So it's done out of maize,
is-
and then you sift it. You sift it and then you allow it to dry, and then it becomes white like powder-ish. And then they put it in plastics and you go sell it. Now the Nigerians use it, especially usually for their babies and that sort of thing to feed. So it's different from the ones
Normal
that from the
porridge.
normal porridge. So so that's why we used to go in the morning to go sell.
Wow.
Around 6,
So you eat
6:30.
it like that? You eat the powder?
No, but you cook it. So
The
you
cooked
so you
one.
boil water, you
Yeah.
pour it in there, and then you
Stir
and then you
it.
stir it, and then and then you put sugar in it. If you could eat it with bread,
Milk,
and milk and whatnot. But that's what we used to wake up in the morning to go sell. And it was crazy. Oh, sometimes we went to the time when they had ice cream cones. There was an ice cream cone company right here at kind of thing South, which we wake up in the morning and we go buy the bags.
So you did your childhood here.
God, I'm telling you, it was crazy. It was nasty.
What nasty.
But you as you're a blogger and you do a lot of writing. I'm gonna ask you these questions. What do you think is the reason why Gambians don't read? We know that we don't read as Gambians. Like we. Danga just need flyers. Muna na boy show bi kanya. But bro, John
I get that all the time. It irritates me.
Yeah,
But what's the reason why we don't read as Gambians? Na
Yes.
tayo la na.
Maybe it's a culture.
Okay.
Because I was at the radio and the girl said Gambians don't write. And so I was like, because Gambians don't read. So why would you write? Even my very short post, someone opens them and then they text me back 2 minutes and they say, boy, I'm gonna ask Lita for good at it. this is like less than 2 pages. What
Yep.
do you mean it's the for good at? So I think it's the culture. If you can trace it back to colonialism, when we were not really allowed to read.
Okay.
So maybe it just triggered down. And Gambians don't read. Yeah, we don't really read. And maybe it's tayal, or maybe it's just we're not interested, or we don't think read mun nañoo jangal or something.
So wala mo ñoo jangal setan wiri fuck my life lady.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but tayal is definitely a part of it. And not wanting to explore more, that
Really?
also can play.
So wait, you feel like Gambians don't really love exploring? No, but
And I don't think it's like we don't love it. It's like maybe we're just not open to it, or it's not open to us. So we're just.
What do you mean it's not open to us? There's some people that are here in Sarakunda. Most of them Brikama. There are some people that in Banjul and they've never left Banjul.
I've only went to Birkama because of uni. Yeah, and it's not like I never wanted to go to Birkama. It's just the idea wasn't. I don't even think I was thinking of a place called Birkama.
I live in
Oh.
Brikama, you know.
Oh yeah. So it's not just Birkama. I've never left the Tabakoto Highway. I came here in my 12th grade, I think. One of my friends' father died, so we went there. That was the first time I remember telling my friends, "Talal bi women talal ajana." We were just going and going and going, and that was my first time. So yeah, and it wasn't like I didn't want to come here, but I didn't have any business here.
Right.
I didn't even know to an extent that this place existed. So Sumasohlayep was Banjul and Sukuta.
So I have a mission, and my mission was to visit all the islands in Gambia, because I believe Gambia has a lot of beautiful sites that
True.
we don't visit.
True.
Actually, it's meant for tourists. When tourists come, they go, and then we don't explore. So I had a mission, but I couldn't complete it because of work, and I've been so busy. So I only made it to one island called the Baobab Island, and it's so beautiful. It's behind Makasutu.
Right.
Yeah, so it's behind Makasutu, and it's a wonderful island. It was actually the island that was hijacked by the former government for smuggling
Marijuana?
No, not marijuana. For smuggling
Oh,
cocaine.
we had cocaine in Gambia?
That was not what it was actually.
Okay.
They were just accused of it, so it was shut down for investigation.
Right,
Because
right,
they
right,
caught some
right.
people with those illegal drugs. So at that time, the time that I went there, the place was quite messy because they've just opened and they were trying to renovate and to start a business again. And a few months back, I checked their site again, and it's now well developed. Tourists are now going, and the place is so beautiful. And it's connected with the river Gambia, with a slum. Very beautiful place. And it's a holy place as well. But all in all, what I'm saying is, I think Gambians need to explore the country
because there's so much we could learn, though.
Yeah.
There's so much we could see.
I was supposed to go to Stone Circles. I'm gonna go back to my mission actually to complete my tour, because there are so many beautiful sites here that I want to really visit and see them. I mean, before we explore other people's country, we also need to explore our own country. And see what we have. People keep saying that, but I'm not we have islands, we have tourist camps, local tourist camps that people don't even visit or see. We have the Stone Circles. We have a lot of historic sites that people can go visit and see. I remember there was this giant that was buried in Katong by the seaside. And I never knew we had a giant who was buried by the seaside until my fourth grade when I was in primary school.
I thought they said it was a dragon.
No, it's a giant.
The dragon is
yeah, this one is in Khartoum by the seaside. So when you go there, you go around this giant that where it is buried for 7 times. You go around it for 7 times.
And you make a prayer.
I don't know why we even did that for 7 times. I know I did it, but it was my 4th grade. So I remember going home telling my grandmother that I went around a giant for 7 times. And she said, well done. Now you are spiritually connected with the giant. Probably we should just send you back to go back to that giant, just making fun of me.
But where have you been in Gambia? I mean, like an exotic site in Gambia. Where have you been to?
I've only been to
Brikama.
No, I can go to Brikama literally every day.
Right.
What's the place called? Kiang. It's in Kiang. The Tendaba.
Tendaba.
So I've only been to Tendaba. And also, I just want to go back to what Mariam was saying.
Right.
She said something about I think people need to explore. But again, if you look at it, when you say people, to me, I see it as people who are at least financially stable, because some of these places you don't just go there for free. You need to transport yourself there, you need to stay, you need to eat, and then they can be quite expensive because they were really established for tourists, so they weren't considering us. So if you have to go there, you at least have to have some kind of at least good enough money to be able to sustain yourself there.
But most of the sites that we have in Gambia, do they have to also consider us? I don't know. I feel because
some of them have prices for the locals, though. I think you need to ask. Like some of them, when you are going like to Makasutu, you tell them you're coming as a local, not a tourist, and they'll give you a good discount or a price. Same thing with the island as well. I remember not even paying anything because I told them I'm not a tourist. I'm not coming there for.
No, where you see
I'm a Gambian.
You're, as they see you, like for myself.
She's right. It's expensive.
As for me, they see me like Kimom do wafi American bila.
Yeah, they did it to my cousin. She went to Bakau Kachikali with her kids because she's very light skinned. So her husband paid 100, I think, and they asked her to pay 150 because they said she was light skinned. So they wanted to. Yeah. So mulena laka alof bud saf like man fila and they still insisted that she should pay.
No.
That's a problem in Gambia, though. It's a big problem. But as you were talking about reading, which is very important. Now we see a lot of young people, especially students, having to struggle with English language, both writing and speaking, and reading is actually even worse. Some people can't even read. Are you working with certain young people, especially school-going children, to encourage them or get them engaged in reading and writing?
At a personal level, no, I haven't done that yet. But I've been working at Corner for 2 years now, and I've done a lot of those things. Also in 2015, I was working with EFAF, and we did this community reading thing. Yes. So you get students in your house, but from my own personal, no, I haven't done that yet. But hopefully I might look at. I don't know. I don't consider myself a good writer to that extent to be able to teach.
But I mean, writing is writing. There's not such a thing as good writing. You write, and there's the editors as well. Even every professional writer, every bestseller, they have, after all the manuscript, they send it to a professional editor to go through it, and then for the final work to come out. Now, have you ever tried to write a Gambian story, as in like a Gambian local story, something that can be filmed?
No, I haven't. Recently, like a few weeks ago, I thought about having a story section for my blog, where but it's been hard. I think I've tried to write that 5 times now since the last few weeks, and and I'm like, no, this is a bad idea. I'll just stick to. But I really want to try not to have it scripted and act it out, but just to have it on my blog. But then most of it will be about, so
About what?
about women, culture, religion, nothing that people would want to act out.
Yeah. But if you were to recommend a Gambian story that could sell, what story do you have in mind, or would you have in mind? Because I mean, we know Kunta Kinte, the whole roots thing it was entire fast. I mean, it's like, yo, what was Alex doing? Why would Alex even do that to us? He put us on the map. They're like, Gambia. Come find out, Kunta Kinte is not even true.
What?
Oh, yeah, you didn't know that?
Kunta Kinte is true.
It's true.
I mean, but the story...
I mean, the story was
the
movie was there was a lot of Jimbo but
the
story is true.
The story is true.
Yeah, and then I bet
Kunta Kinte, his name, Toby.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a lie. Could you imagine?
That was a lie.
Yeah, oh, that was a lie.
Don't mind Daniel. That's true. Don't try to.
But it was. But he confessed. This is not true.
He who?
The Alex Haley guy.
Which Alex Haley?
The guy that wrote the Roots book.
When did he say it's not true?
But you could check it.
He said his movie was not
true.
true.
Yeah.
But the Kunta Kinte story is true.
Oh yeah, which one?
Kunta Kinte is a story that is true and originally from the Gambia. Now, acting of the movie, because there are different writers.
Right.
So I think certain writers struggle to get the authentic stories because they didn't do a home research. I don't think any writer came up to Gambia to do a home research before they published their stories. So they were gathering stories from oral historians and few of the research that they were able to come access with and blended with their own ideas, or just like any other script writer, sometimes you add up certain stories just to lengthen your story or just to add up whatever that you wanted to add up to.
Maybe the fact that the part I like to believe, the story that is true, is that there was a resistant Gambian.
That's true.
Young boy who was taken into slavery.
Okay.
So maybe that part is true, but everything else, I don't know. I still think it was true.
It was too good to be. But y'all could Google that. I mean, it's not true. I felt heartbroken when I saw that.
Okay, Dan.
But you are a third-year political science student, and I would love to have your take on some issue. The question I'll ask is, most of the leaders that we have in Africa are pretty much from a poor background. They come into power and all of a sudden they begin to accumulate wealth, amass wealth, that's the word, for themselves. Do you feel like if we had someone that was well off, someone that's got nothing to worry about, is elected as leader, will he do better?
So there's this political science student. So there's this thing called power corrupts and absolute power corrupts corruptly.
Right.
Absolutely, sorry. So I don't really think it's about your background.
Right.
It's about what you have, your vision, let's say. So especially working in a system like most of the African governments, you do not necessarily want to come to accumulate wealth, but you end up doing it because that is what power does to you. So even there are rich presidents who come to system and not even accumulate wealth, but then they rule badly, like Donald Trump. I mean, he's not poor, but you can see the way he cannot necessarily his aim is not to accumulate wealth, but he's corrupting the system, and he might have had a way if there were not good policies in America.
Right.
So that is the same thing for Gambia. So it's just a vision you have, and not necessarily your background.
But as a political science student, after studies, what's your aim? Do you intend to become a politician, form your own political party, like most young people?
A lot of young people have
aiming?
plans. They're like, we'll get into politics.
But what do you plan to do after your studies?
My focus is more on communications, international relations than than politics. I get that from my family every time. No, janga political science. Hey, danga bugan deka No, danga bugan deka comes up papa, because my uncle was mayor of Banyo, so they asked him, danga bugan deka comes up papa. I'm like, no, because the subject itself is very broad. You can go into different things, because even at the university we have it divided into three. We have public administration, we have international relations, then you have
I know.
Then you have politics. So it just depends what you want to do. So I really want to get into communications.
Okay.
That's great.
Now, customer care service. Let me ask you a question. I'm a little deviating a little bit from the subject here. Now, customer care service is an issue we have in Gambia. Now, what's your worst experience?
Customer care. It's probably Afrisa.
Give it to us, girl. Say it.
Let's hear it. So that our bosses that listen to the show can do something about it. So what did they do to you?
It's probably, I mean, every time you call them, okay, the few times I've called them, they want to, they act like, I know they know their job, but then you tell them like a real situation and they try to tell you maybe Lila, and then you tell them I've done that do Lolo, and they go back to telling you maybe Lila, I've done that already. So they just keep going back and forth instead of trying to figure out the whole problem. So I just think you call them to waste your time, basically.
No, but what do you think could fix? How do you feel we could fix that issue? Because it's a problem that is being mentioned by a lot of people.
Like
Customer care,
yeah.
but not just in Africa, but Gambia in general. Then people are a little stuck up, sort of, even though they are doing work that that requires a smiley face and that sort of thing. I mean, you're meant to be hospitable, basically, and we are considered to be a country, with hospitality and not a lot of hospitality. But the thing is, we're only hospitable to the white people that come to the country. We're not hospitable to our own brothers and sisters. How can we fix that?
I think just companies need to have like HR programs that would teach their staff about these things.
Right.
I think that would work more, because I don't think that we have like structured programs in universities or high institutions that teach you this is how you need to deal with people. So I think this could be like a year-long program for staff, just to tell them how to talk to people and how to communicate well without sounding rude or without making the caller or the customer feel like they don't really, because when they do that is how I feel. How can I call you telling me you my problem and you're telling me no, this is your problem, and I tell you that is not my problem and you're telling me again this is your problem.
but doesn't it start from the house? I know we're all taught to be very cordial,
Friendly
very
nice,
very friendly, very
patient.
nice, very understanding, respectful, kind, considerate while growing up. But how does that change with time? Because these are people that I know they don't come from bad homes. Then you're talking mer. Bro, you're mabugay. So you're mawas maligi.
Maybe it's not the training, or they've not really lost it. Maybe it's just a working environment.
Okay.
Maybe it's not friendly and it's stressful, and there are all these problems they don't know how to figure out, and you're coming to them reminding them of the same problem. So it pretty much stresses them out. So I don't, as much as I like to blame them, I wouldn't also really put all the blame on them. So their companies also need to do stuff about, because if you keep getting the same problem all the time, it's a responsibility of the company to try to find out ways in solving them, and not leaving your staff to be dealing with it all the time.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, as much as you try to train your staff, also you need to create the environment for them to be able to deliver in whatever level that they might be at. But yeah, you're still listening to Afro Radio, the Chill Zone. We're here with Maimuna. If you have any questions or want to be part of the show, you can call 1076 or send in your text messages 1076.
Yep.
As a young woman in the Gambia, Maimuna, I mean, we see a lot of young women facing a lot of problems, and you're an activists, and we've been struggling with a lot of issues, gender-based violence, FGM, and the list goes on. But as a woman, have you ever found yourself in situations where you felt you were being discriminated for your gender?
No. I think I see this every day. In class, my daily conversations with everyone, and it just happens all the time. And I've never really. I like to say that this is the first time someone's calling me an activist. Because I don't call that I don't call myself an activist. So women get discriminated every day. You get limited, you get discriminated, you get put aside because of your gender, and it just affects a lot of us. Because every time in class, I just want to say we have the most conservative people in the University of the Gambia.
Don't whisper it. Say it loud. Say it loud.
You need to say it loud. Say it loud.
I mean, you sit in class and then you wonder, because I'm not really the person who talks, especially in a gathering. Right. So I don't speak much. You
look like that. That's why I say, okay, fine, let's bring her in here in a closed environment and bring out these things.
Yeah. So I'm not really the person who speaks out in class. But then you sit and then someone says something in the class, and then you're wondering, how did you end up? How did you even get here in the first place? Because they have really these conservative views about women, and usually because political science, we do a lot of these things because we talk more about the society and everything. So when it comes to talking about women, I just put my head down because I know I'm about to hear the most annoying and disturbing things. They say something, you say something about women, and then they say these women, they are just doing just gender. If someone came at the corner one time, and then they asked me what programs are you having next month. So I told them it's Gender Equality Month network. So we're having programs on women empowerment. And then he said, what about men empowerment? So I'm like, bro, you've been empowered for as long as I can remember. So just the idea of it, they don't even want to participate. They don't even want to learn, because there's a part where you're willing to accept people to teach you stuff. But they don't. They just have these nasty views, and then they stick to it. They stick to it.
Right.
There was this time in my class, I had my laptop because I have this stamp of end FGM.
Right.
So there's this beard looking guy. It's probably stars or something. I'm way more than that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Oh,
so he just looked down on my laptop, and then he saw the poster, and then he giggled. And then I said, what? He said, hey, is this woman and FGM? And then he said stuff, and I was like, if I talk to you, I'm gonna be rude. So I just turned and looked down on my paper. And he's probably one of those people whose children you'd go to, and then he'll openly accept that for them to be circumcised and all of these things. So I think as much work we do, because I've been saying this a lot, it's enough for the workshops and everything we do. Let's just go in the homes and then talk to people, because these people wouldn't come to the workshop. It's just us attending the workshops, and it's not really doing any good, and it's just the same people attending the workshops anyway. So we just go to the people and then talk to them about these things, because if not, nothing's gonna change. We're just gonna be stuck at the same place with men thinking women are there and they're there. And it's not doing us any good.
Yeah, you can be a voice wherever that you might be. I mean, especially in your class with those people that you come across. We come across them every day, actually, everywhere, all the time. You know, we get attacked on social media platforms. I mean, I remember someone sending me a very long, nasty message with a lot of courses and everything. But for their own self-belief, especially when I see men who are strongly, in for FGM, for their own personal reasons or gains, which they have no clue about, and they're able to stand firm to say, oh, what you're doing is wrong. What they are doing for them is actually right, that FGM should be accepted, But like you said, we need to get to the homes. We need to start talking to people who are within our own communities, within our own locality. It's not going to be easy, but I believe with time they will get to understand.
True.
But the more we keep quiet about it, the more it's gonna just be in place and nothing would happen.
Well, I keep saying that in Gambia we have so many forums, we have so many conferences, we have meetings upon meetings upon meetings. I felt like if every of this meeting, with the outcome of each of these meetings was implemented, we will be at paradise. I'm just saying, but it's just crazy. But yes, Maimuna Jeng joins us right here as chillmate today. I think I would briefly just read this text message that's coming from Ami J. She is listening to us all the way in the United States of America. You say United States of Obosoba. Yes, Obodoibo. But yes, right here. So her text message, she's sending and she said congratulations to Sibo, and she says my regards to her. And what she's saying about hospitality right here, she says hospitality actually is pretty much with the white people indeed, lol. And for my comment, some Gambians feel they are doing you a favor when they actually getting paid for the services, or you actually getting paid, or you paying them for the services. Well, she says, wonder shall never end.
Shout out to you.
Shout out to you, MJ. Thank you so much for your contribution right here on the show. We appreciate it. But yes, back into the movement. #MeToo. Do you feel it could work in Gambia?
I mean,
women coming out
to speak
yes
on issues. Yeah. So I think more or less all the places where the Me Too movement has been not quite successful, but I say successful, were more or less very patriarchal societies. And I feel like if it worked there, it can work here.
It could?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, we've been having women come out with their stories. We've had the likes of Musaba Koto, who came out about her issue of early marriage and FGM. We had the likes of Umisuso, the same thing, you know, Isa too, and the list of so many women who came out with their stories. I mean, it's gonna take a lot of courage, of course, from certain people to really come out with some of the experiences that we've gone through to really speak out about it, because we live in a society that is so discriminating.
True.
People point fingers at you and judge you in accordance to what you've been through. That's why so many people tend to keep quiet about what they've gone through. I mean, I've seen certain people who are battling with certain very serious issues that they fear to come out to the public with, because they're scared at the end of the day they're going to be discriminated. Especially if you're not married, then everybody will put you aside. Like, wow. You know, they would put a lot of label and a lot of stuff on you, which actually is very detrimental to your own personal health and your well-being, and for you fitting back in society again. But I have a feeling that it's going to really work out. I think so many people will come out.
Yeah, I think people are more so afraid when the issue that to talk to is going to be about men or about something that is going to put a man in a position where they're not the superior anymore. So it's not really speaking up is one aspect of it, but speaking up in this case is only a problem because you're speaking up against a man who you know that ideally they are the superiors. So you wouldn't necessarily want to put yourself in that position where you know that you're speaking up for literally nothing, because they are your custodians. So you cannot really talk. It's like your dad in your house. You cannot really speak up much against them, even if they're doing a bad thing, because they are your protectors.
They're so. I mean, they claim to be your protectors.
But if, for instance, you found yourself in a situation like that, would you speak against the situation, even if it involves your father?
About Me Too.
Yeah, about Me Too. Yeah. For instance, I'm just saying.
Hypothetically speaking. I just put it out there like that.
She's thinking hard about this question, you know.
Right now, I think I would.
Okay.
Why?
Why would I speak up? Because it's the right thing to do. Because it's the right thing to do. I think that I'm just trying to put myself in a position where I'm just trying to think, what if that happens? But basically, I think I'll speak up because it's the right thing to do. And right now, I'm at a point in my life where I just want to be an example for many other people. An example to do good, to do the right thing, especially when it comes to women and them being marginalized in society and stuff. So I would speak up just because of that.
Wow, great. So I have a question today on the news. There's pretty much a protest scheduled, pretty much Tuesday, that's tomorrow, Wednesday, for women in the UK that have a problem with the pay scale. I mean, it's been an issue for years. Women are relatively not on the same pay scale as men, and it affects them, and they usually do most of the work. Even if they are in a higher position than the man in a lower position eventually still gets more money than the woman. Could that change eventually with all the campaigning that's going on and the protests and the speaking of it as well?
I like to believe that change is inevitable. So it might happen. In Gambia, it'll take a very, very long time. Because
everything takes time in Gambia.
It's not just the pay gap problem. It's just every policy in Gambia. Once it's there, it's gonna take forever for them to change it. Especially the pay gap when it has something to do with women and equality and giving women their rights. So it's going to take time. But I don't know. Policy is really a huge problem in the Gambia. So I like to think that I like to think about this outside of wanting equality for women and feminism, or whatever. But I think it's going to be hard because leaders in the Gambia are not really open to change. Gambians might not be, but leaders in the Gambia are not really open to change. Especially when it's someone else wanting to get the same pay. So maybe when it gets to that point, they can say, okay, we're changing this, but we've realized that the economy cannot provide the same pay for you both. So we're reducing the men's pay down to the women. So then it becomes a problem. So I think just because of that, it's going to be a problem because it's not just about them getting paid higher than women. It's about them getting paid higher than women and getting paid higher than what they deserve. So it's two things.
Wow.
Yes. So yesterday I was watching the news with my aunt, and we saw a group of women who were campaigning, and they were dancing and clapping like the usuals. You know, when it's time for election, women come out to celebrate and cheer the party leaders. So we were talking about, how about women starting to support women, in positions? Why not we start pushing our fellow women for leadership roles? Women can become presidents, but we're the first people to doubt them. We'll sit in our corners and say, hey, nakala jigen di neke president. Muso wo ba kila president wa nyadile. In your own point of view, do you think in time Gambia would start to embrace fellow women for leadership roles, especially for presidency?
Yes, I think we're getting there. I must recommend activists like yourself have been doing a lot of work. But
Danny, leave me alone.
Yes, there's been a lot of teaching and learning and wokeness around the issue of women's political participation. But I think people from the same demographic wouldn't necessarily want to support each other, irrespective if you're a woman or a man. The point where
Please go ahead, please.
Yeah, so the fact that you're a woman, and it's not even about, let's forget culture and jigin waruta nika high post. The fact that you're a woman, I would necessarily want to I will naturally want to compete you in whatever you're doing. So even you wanting to want to participate would make me want to come out also and participate in the elections, whether I'm qualified or not.
Okay.
It's gonna, because that's how we're set up. We're set up to compete each other. That's how men compete among themselves. It's just everywhere.
It's just bad.
But thank you so much, Maimuna.
Yes,
It was great
yes,
having you
yes.
here. You're such an amazing lady. Just keep doing what you do. We're following and we're proud of you as well. The future is bright for you. And keep speaking. Be bold.
Please,
and
keep writing as well.
Keep writing.
Please.
Yeah.
Right here,
always.
so her blog, she's a blogger, like I said, and her blog is Kojo Jeng, right? Korjor. What does that mean? Korjor Jeng.
It's a taga. You know what taga
Yeah.
is? Yeah.
It's
So I don't.
Kojo. I think we are related somehow because my grandmother uses that a lot. She is Wali Jiban Job's granddaughter.
Oh.
So they use Kojor, whatever. I don't know how to put it together.
I'm pretty much related with everyone. So
Okay. So Kojor Jeng wordpress.com, right? Kojor Jeng wordpress.com. That is her blog. Kojor Jeng is her handle on Twitter. Yeah, she's not really an Instagram person, are you?
I was 2
Yeah,
years ago.
that's what I'm saying. So I looked for you on Instagram and there was nowhere to be seen. So she's on Twitter. You can follow her work out there. See all the amazing things she gets to tweet all the time. Thank you so much for coming in. This right here, Daddy Constant and Maria Makoli. We are the Chill Zone.